lot of things have happened recently. And god damn it. Like, I take a couple of weeks off and nothing's going on. It's all just the same old status quo every day. And then all of a sudden, everything fucking blows up and there's like 20 videos I want to make today. But I have whittled it down to 2 that I believe are extraordinarily important for me to make today. Because it's good information. So, last night, I was getting back into everything. I'm watching the news. Tim's reading me the headlines as I'm looking through other shit and whatnot, seeing what's going on in the world, what I've been missing as I've been in the bubble. I put myself in the bubble. The bubble of, I don't care. I didn't look at comments. I didn't, for 3 weeks, like 3 weeks straight, I didn't look at comments. I didn't fucking look at the news. I would kind of, every once in a while, listen to the news on the radio just to kind of see if anything was actually happening. Nothing was ever fucking happening. So usually I'd listen to it like, you know, on my way into work. I'd just listen to headline news. And if nothing was going on, I would just turn the radio off. Or I'd turn it to music or whatever. I didn't fucking care. Wouldn't even listen to talk radio. I wouldn't even listen to Jimmy and Sam. Because I'm like, no, they talk politics. I don't want to fucking be involved. Nope, I want out. I'm like, I'm out of it. Time off. I'm taking time off, you know. So, I'm getting back into it. And I see this video. And I was like, I have to do this video. I really have to do this video. Because this, I think, is a shining example of what people are speaking and what the Democrats are speaking about in hushed whispers. The silent majority. This mythical beast that could unseat everything for them. The silent majority. Who are they? Do they exist? Are they still the majority? Does the silent majority even matter anymore? Or are they just doormats now? Right? That's the big question on everybody's fucking mind. And I believe in the silent majority. I understand what the silent majority is. I lived in a household that was the silent majority. Right? Like, they all had friends that were also a part of the silent majority. Like, I've been in it my whole life. I also am technically a part of the silent majority. I don't vote, but nevertheless, I never really talked shit about it until very recently. I was part of the silent majority. I have now become an outspoken person, or whatever the fuck they'd call me. But I wanted to show you this man and let you look into his eyes and hear his fucking story and listen to what he says, really, with your ears, not that fucking shit filter that you run everything fucking through and turn it into jumbled madness. No. Listen with your ears to what he's saying. Don't gussy it up. Don't add anything to it. Don't take anything away. Just what he's saying. Like, trust that he's saying to you what he's thinking. Right? And you'll... This man should terrify every Democrat in this country. Because they're coming for you.
You know him, you love him, he's...
Well, about a week ago, a school principal in New Jersey sent an email to parents at the school apologizing for a photograph that appeared in the school's yearbook. The picture was taken in October. What was the picture? Well, it wasn't of the Virginia governor. The kids weren't posing in blackface.
Coon Man. Good old Coon Man. Anybody remember Coon Man? I gotta fucking watch the volume with which I say that shit. Current living conditions. Coon Man.
Wearing Klan robes.
Tucker, it wasn't a Klan robe. That man was dressed like a ghost. I swear to God, it's that South Park episode all over again. He was a ghost that went boogaloo.
No, they were carrying an American flag with a blue stripe on it, a Blue Lives Matter flag.
Ugh. That is fucking appalling. Why would anybody even own one of those flags? Ugh, those racist hate symbols. Ugh. You have no idea how many times I have had to address comments telling me that I should take down that racist hate symbol I have in the background. And I say, which one? I mean, I type which one, but that's how I'm saying it, which one. Right? Is it the American flag? Is it the blue line flag? Is it which fucking one? And it's always this one. And I go, and I hear about gangs and this, that, and the other thing. And I go, man. I go, whatever. Yeah, your opinion is noted, and I'm not gonna. I don't care. So, but why would they put?
It honors police officers killed in the line of duty. The cops were at the school for the DARE program, which keeps kids off drugs.
DARE to keep a kid off drugs. Anybody else remember that song?
Most wholesome scenario you can imagine, but the image horrified the principal of the school, William Myron. He wrote that the picture was, quote, understandably appalling. And then he continued with woke speak befitting a corporate HR department. Quote, the need for growth is apparent. I wish we had realized in October any of the negative associations with the picture. We should have known. I personally can only apologize that I did not.
Now look, I'm pretty decent at predicting the future. I'm no Nostradamus, but I'm pretty decent at predicting the future. At least I'm getting to be. I never foresaw that someday we would come to, in the midst of a pandemic, hate the police so much and vilify them so much that waving a flag that is meant to show honor and respect to officers who have lost their lives in duty. Like, that's what this means. This is to show respect for officers who've lost their lives while trying to protect us, right? And to imagine a world in which this would become mainstream thought that it is a racist hate symbol. Like, that's now mainstream thought. I never would have predicted it. Never in a million fucking years. This fucking guy is apologizing that he didn't predict that half a year from now we would hate the police so much. This is like, we should have known. Really? Should we have known? I don't think any of us should ever know what's going on right now. I don't think it should ever have become a thing. So I disagree with you, sir.
Some parents were confused by this. One of them, a father named Brian Nichelle, responded this way, writing, as a parent, a Millburn resident, and an American, I found your letter to be not only condescending and offensive, but also spurious, misguided, and ironically intolerant of anyone holding views which do not conform to the currently prescribed and carefully constructed language of wokeness.
Spurious. I like that. That's a good fucking word, spurious. What does that mean? Not being what it purports to be. False or fake. Ooh, fucking spurious. God damn, that's a good word. That's a real good word. Spurious.
That parent, Brian Nichelle, joins us tonight. Brian, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, Brian, thanks for coming on to the show. Tucker, always great to have you.
So I just want to be clear to the audience. Sometimes you have guests on and nobody knows the backstory. You are not a political activist. You're not apparently a very political person.
Now look, when he says you're apparently not a very political person, like that, here's what I take that to mean. What they do, is behind the scenes shit, right? Like, there's commercials. Well, Tucker doesn't, like, shut down and go, and then wait for, like, 10 seconds. Like, that's not what happens. He talks to the guest he's going to have on in the next segment. Like, he gets them comfortable, kind of talking to him, talking through the camera, that whole thing, getting them kind of used to the lag. Right? Like, you have a kind of a conversation with them a little bit, as much as you can. And so Tucker probably talked politics with this guy. Now look, I would say that I am either watching or listening to news for about 4 hours a day at least. I spend a good 4 hours every weekday listening to or watching the news. Easy. Fucking easy. I do 1 hour at work. Easy. Because I have breaks. I easily do an hour at least going to and from work and my 50 minutes worth of break. 2 10-minute breaks and a 30-minute lunch. I listen to an hour worth of news. Just there. And then I come home and watch more fucking news. And then I do this and then I watch more fucking news. And then I eat. And that's kind of when I'm done for the night. So, I'm watching a good 4 hours of news every fucking night. This guy might watch, an hour or so. You might watch the news hour every night. Whatever, right? And here's the thing. There's 2 types of news watchers these days. If you want to watch I Hate Trump 24/7, you watch anything that isn't Fox. If you want to watch the news, you watch Fox. If you want to watch the right-wing version of everything that isn't Fox, you watch shows like Tucker and Gutfield, all the kind of more Hannity, all of the kind of more opinionated, news shows. You watch that shit. But if you actually want to know what's going on, you watch like the daytime, like the news anchors during the afternoon and shit, like America's Newsroom, whatever the fuck that's called, with Sandra Smith. You watch that shit because it's the news. Like it's the fucking news. Or you watch Brett Baer because he does the fucking news. Like he doesn't tell you what he thinks you should think about what he thinks this meant. He tells you what happened. This happened. And then he goes on with what happened next. Like that's what they do. Like, so if you're watching the news, you're watching Fox and you're watching one of the news shows, right? Because that's the only thing that's giving you the news anymore these days. So I know exactly what this dude knows. Because I know what's going on Fox. Because I listen to it during work all day. And so, him talking to me would probably be a thing which would probably be pretty frustrating for me and kind of daunting for him because he's not going to know as much as I know. I'm doing it like a fucking Olympic powerlifter workout and he just goes to the gym once a week. You know what I mean? Like, it's the difference with us. But, so he's talking to Tucker. Lucky fucking man that he is. I'm kind of scared because Tucker lives the news 24/7. Tucker's in a whole different fucking class. Tucker is Jabiris. I'm fucking Krillin, man. Like, this dude's fucking Yajirobe, but nevertheless, like that's the fucking ranking here. So when Tucker goes, he's barely fucking not much about the news, that means that Tucker has talked to this man and deemed him not as knowledgeable as me on what's going on. He's just somebody that kind of watches the news every now and again. So that's kind of why I'm like, this is my dude right here.
You don't have some complex political agenda. You're just a parent.
Now, my confirmation of all that shit, my confirmation bias, is if you watch his face in that last clip, he kind of reacts to Tucker saying, not very knowledgeable about the news, and he kind of goes, like, so, he knows too. Yeah, I talk to you, man, and so, this is average Joe American. That's where I'm getting at with all that shit. This is your average dude. This is your silent majority. These are the people that don't talk a whole lot of politics because they don't care that much. Like they see that it's a mess, so they just don't fucking bother in their personal life. But they still go home and watch the news. Now amplify that by all of the people that are out of work or were out of work during the beginnings of the COVID pandemic. What did they do? They sat at home all day. And most adults watched the news because the news is where shit was happening. What was going on? What's going on with fucking pandemic? When are we going to be able to go back to work? When can I leave my house? Why is there no toilet paper? Are we going to get help? What kind of help are we going to get? They wanted to watch the news. And if you want to watch the news, there's two types of people that want to watch the news. You can watch anything that's not Fox and get, I hate Donald Trump. Or you can watch the news. Most people watch the news. And then when it got to the point where everything that wasn't Fox started to refuse to show the fucking daily pandemic updates from the president, and only Fox was airing that shit, well, Fox's viewership went through the fucking roof, didn't it? And not only that, but Tucker Carlson has the biggest show on TV right now, seconded by Hannity, right? The other opinion late night fucking show on Fox. Any of this starting to register with people? Like, are you beginning to see what I'm talking about here? People began to educate themselves. People started watching a lot of news. Your average Joe still works out at the gym at least an hour every day. That ain't too shabby.
With kids in the school, and you were confused by what the principal said, and I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, no, Tucker, that's right. And, I actually wasn't really confused. I knew exactly what was happening. I follow the news. I see what's happening with cancel culture, and I see what's happening to anyone who speaks out.
So he sees what's going on. He's knowledgeable enough to see what happens to people that speak out. And here he is. Interesting.
And dares to veer off of the carefully constructed script that businesses and politicians are meant to convey when they're speaking about these things.
Now he's lumped in businesses with politicians, and here's where I know a little bit more than he does. The only reason that businesses are involved is because of boycotts, because they're terrified, because they don't have the balls to go, we're not involved in politics. Like, that's what they all should have done, and that's what they all still could do. Nike could get themselves out of a lot of fucking trouble. All they have to do is make a commercial, right? Do the flashy cutscene thing, Donald Trump picture, Nancy Pelosi, and riots, flash riot, and flash burning cop car, explosions, tear gas, blah, 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 flash images, all these controversial shit, blah, 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 blah. And then put up, black screen, and get the dude from the Allstate commercial to go, things are crazy right now, politics and the world in general, right? And then, just have him go, here at Nike, we sell shoes. Everybody needs shoes. And then fucking show just like a shoe, like their new shoe, whatever they want to fucking pimp, and go, isn't that a great looking shoe? It'll keep your feet dry. And then fucking cut to the Nike swoosh and have it say just, and then leave us out of your politics. Stuck the dismount. There you go. That's all they need to do. And then anytime anybody tries to pull them into politics, their statement should be a cut and paste of this every single time. We make shoes. And that's it. We make shoes. We're not interested in your fucking... We don't care if you think our shoe is racist because it has Betsy Ross flag on it. We make shoes. If you don't want it, don't buy it. Other people want it. I don't know. Republicans need shoes too. Like, wasn't that Michael Jordan's line? Why don't you ever get politically active, Michael? Because Republicans buy shoes too. Because I sell shoes, man. Why would I? All that's going to do is get me in trouble with somebody. He lumps businesses in there. Businesses are a slave to the mob. It isn't their fault that they're cowards. Okay, it's their fault that they're... Yeah, fuck it. Businesses belong in there.
But what really seemed appalling to me, actually, much more so than a photograph of football players holding an American flag and a thin blue line flag, what was truly appalling was the fact that it seemed that Dr. Myron was reacting without even thinking about the kids. So he's calling the flag that these boys are holding, these football players, he's calling the flag racist. So essentially he's saying these boys are out there waving a racist flag around without any regard to what that might mean to the boys' images or the boys' futures now to be branded in such a way that clearly wasn't their intention.
And that is a point that I hadn't even considered up until he said it. I was like, fuck, that's... Like... You know, like that's a thing right there. Because that becomes a fucking thing. Because now we hate cops. So then their yearbook comes out. And what happens? All these kids are waving a fucking cop supporting flag. Were you on the football team last year? Yeah. Like, dude. And then you got kids getting beat up in the hallways, football players getting beat up in the hallways by gangs of fucking burnouts because they're Trump supporters. Because they like cops. I hadn't even fucking thought of that until he said it.
I was actually at that football game that day, and I remember where they were honoring the DARE program, and they came out, and it was a wonderful night. And so that's where some shock came in. It's like, is that the night you're talking about? There seemed to be lots of town and school unity that night.
Yeah.
And clearly at that time, nobody had an objection to holding an American flag or a thin blue line flag. So when I see that level of hypocrisy, it did inspire me to write a letter. I had no intention of it going any further than the school board and the principal and the superintendent. But when I was asked to come on and talk about that, I felt it was my duty, as a father and as a citizen, to actually stand up and say what I'm saying shouldn't be controversial.
Now look, there are a lot of different types of people in the world. Again, I like to go with the 10,000 BC reference. A man draws a circle around himself, right? And he fills it up with what is most important to him. Some men just have a circle drawn around themselves. That's all they care about. Some people draw a circle around themselves and their families. Some people draw a circle around themselves and the whole world. Now, this guy is smart enough to predict the future. He can see where this kind of shit is going. Because he's not happy to be living in this shit right now. And he remembers what it was like 6 years ago. Like, we're not talking a fucking... I understand for children, a couple of years can seem like forever. But 6 years ago, for us adults, that's not very fucking long. We remember what life was like when we were kids. And nowadays, it's fucking sad. Like, I can't even imagine being a fucking kid these days. The horseshit that they must have to deal with. It's like, oh my god, I would fucking hate it. So he's looking at this kind of shit going, I can't sit by and allow this to become my child's future. I can't let the world deteriorate to this point, because as a father, I don't want my kid to have to continue to go through this through the rest of his life. And as a citizen, I'm getting fucking tired of it too. Tired of it to the point he not only wrote this letter, but then came on Tucker's show to talk about it. So, the silent majority is starting to get vocal. Like, this is a now activated person. He doesn't seem to be so far as to be radical, but he's active. He's now become activated. I became activated in 2015. I used to be this dude. And then 2015 came around. And I already saw, I didn't think it was going to be this fucking flaky, but I already saw shit going on that I was like, okay, this is fucking retarded. And I became activated, started this shit. So...
And
That's right.
it shouldn't be polarizing, as polarizing as that email that we all received was. I'm just talking about free speech, and I'm talking about the idea that we should not be so quick to judge one another based on what the current culture is telling us is so.
He doesn't like this shit because it's stupid. Just because you don't like something doesn't mean that I don't have to like it. Like, I can like things that you don't like. Fuck you. I like Princess Mononoke. I don't care that Weinstein had his dirty rapist fingers in it. It's a good movie. And I'm still going to watch it. I don't give a shit. I don't care. It's already bought. Like, I bought it before I knew all this stuff. I'm not going to throw it the fuck away. And I'm not going to stop watching it. Why would I? The damage is done. The die has been cast. I can't, what am I going to do? Return it? Yeah, I understand that this is like, God, I bought it in like 2015 or something like that. Can I return this? And you know Harvey Weinstein was a bad guy. No, so I'm going to watch the fucking movie because it's a good movie. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean I don't have, like, I can like it. Fuck off. People are getting tired of this shit. People are getting fucking exhausted with this shit. They're tired of every day having to find out that their favorite fast food restaurant or brand of clothing or whatever the fuck is now all of a sudden racist. People are getting fucking tired of it. It's getting played the fuck out. People are rising up.
Every point you've made is rooted in common sense and decency and concern for other people, and I bet you 85% of Americans would agree with every word that just came out of your mouth. And yet you are taking a real risk coming on this show, a risk to your livelihood, to your family. We're not overstating that.
Of anybody in this world, Tucker Carlson knows.
And so I just really fervently hope you are not punished for saying what most people think in a gentle and rational way. I really, really do, Brian. So our thoughts are with you tonight. Thank you for standing up and saying that.
Thank you, Tucker.
I appreciate it.
And I appreciate you too, dude. I would like to reiterate, I hope nothing fucking happens to this guy, but something tells me that it is entirely possible that in a week or two, I could be fucking doing a video with this dude again and Tucker. Have Tucker on the show again, talking about how he had some assholes with megaphones and fucking drums outside his house for a fucking week, just being dicks because he said what he thought. Or fucking worse. Who even knows, man? Like, but it's heroes like that risk that kind of shit to come out and stand up and go, what the fuck? Like, I'm sitting here with my life going, well, I ain't got a woman or kid anymore. And, I got nothing to lose. So, I have the ultimate power of being able to say, well, I really don't have much to lose. So I might as well do something with that power. And then I decided to start doing this shit. This dude's got kids, family, livelihood. It's heroes like that. When the silent majority gets activated, that's what it looks like right there. And like Tucker said, I'm sure 80%, 85% of the country would agree with everything you just said. We'll find out.